Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, Nestle, sirs, peasants, vassals, meat sacks, pink slime, senators, representatives, millionaires. I'm a useful idiot, and today I would like to talk about the fact that we have a government of millionaires. Specifically, we have a Congress of millionaires. And most American citizens are, of course, well aware of this fact, and there should be no surprise because the road to our government are expensive and exclusive Ivy League schools, family or personal wealth, and or political and business dynasties. And this includes our presidents, our presidential candidates, our cabinet members, our ambassadors, and of course our congressmen. And not to mention that we have an election cycle that's based on the cult of personality, name recognition, and a system where billionaires bankroll millionaires in order to get them into government work. And but let's get down to some of the numbers. So half of Congress are millionaires. 261 members of Congress are millionaires. And contrary to the folklore about rich Republicans, it's pretty bipartisan, pretty evenly split. We have 110 Democrats who are millionaires and 140 Republicans who are millionaires. And of course the People's House, the House of Representatives, has a lot lower wealth quotient, although some of the very richest members of Congress are in the House of Representatives. But the average median net worth of a member of the House of Representatives is $765,000 a year. The median net worth of a member of the Senate is $2.63 million. And of course these numbers are a little deceptive because spouses' wealth can be separated out, and so it's hard to connect a lot of the family wealth sometimes to congressional members. And also their net worth doesn't include certain asset classes like their primary residence, their artwork, their cars, their investments, and their government retirement accounts. So the net worth of millionaires in Congress could actually be considerably higher. But that said, the numbers are still pretty impressive. And the fact, too, that the Senate is near 70% millionaires is an interesting fact, too, because when you look at the American population, only 1% of the American population are millionaires, and yet they have 70% representation of millionaires in Congress. So, therefore, it should be no surprise that Congress is out of touch and not very representative of the working class and the middle class, because they have no idea. And of course, congressional wealth is interesting as well because it seems to grow exponentially once they're in Congress. So if you're not a millionaire when you get in government and Congress, you certainly will be when you get out. Of course, we know the reasons for this. There's the insider trading, where their market results on their investments are considerably higher than the norm, shows that their insider trading has been very successful. But another part of this, and a bigger part of this to me, is the fact that they are privy and the inside track on trends. A good example of this is the post 9/11 world, where Congress had the inside track on what the trends would be in our domestic and foreign policies. So congressmen were able to be on the fast track and be on the inside as far as investing in data mining and surveillance and police state and military-industrial complex and drones and body scanners. For example, Michael Chertoff used to be the head of the Department of Homeland Security in the United States, and when he got out of government work, he heads a company that sells the body scanners to the airports all over the world, and he gets to work with his old buddies at TSA. So quite an advantage there. And of course, he profited handsomely. And Donald Rumsfeld's another one. He was a CEO of a pharmaceutical company, and he ended up being Secretary of Defense in the George Bush administration. And he is invested in a company that sold Tamiflu vaccines to the governments all over the world during the pandemic scare. So needless to say, he profited handsomely, both for insider knowledge and also access to trends. And so let's get down to a list I have of the richest congressmen. And this will just be a small sample. And I just want people to be aware of what some of these numbers are and what the wealth is of some of these congressmen, because it has a lot to do with what my big picture and my bottom line are going to be. So Representative Michael McCall, Republican from Texas, is the richest member of Congress. He has a net worth of $294 million. And just incidentally, a lot of his money comes from the fact that his wife is the daughter of the CEO of Clear Channel. This is another trend in Congressional Wealth, where you have wealthy spouses of Congress people. And a good example of that is John Kerry, whose wife is an extremely wealthy Heinz ketchup empire heiress. Or John McCain, his wife is very wealthy. And in both cases, they've been more than happy to help not only bankroll the political careers of the likes of John Kerry and John McCain, but also help them with their own investments and business arrangements, so they can increase their net worth through that method. And so it also shows an interesting relationship where you have a lot of wealthy congressmen who are married to wealthy business people. So sometimes the corporate government partnership starts in the bedroom. And so anyway, let's get back to this list. So Representative Michael McCall, Republican of Texas, has a net worth of $294 million. Representative Darrell Issa, Republican from California, $220 million. Senator John Kerry, Democrat from Massachusetts, $190 million. Senator Jay Rockefeller, Democrat from West Virginia, $81 million. Senator Mark Warner, Democrat from Virginia, $76 million. Senator Dianne Feinstein, Democrat from California, $45 million. Representative Nancy Pelosi, Democrat from California, $35 million. Senator John McCain, Republican from Arizona, $10 million. Senator Olympia Snowe, Republican from Maine, $10 million. Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican from Kentucky, $10 million. I know some could make the argument that these are people who are successful and know how to work in our economic and political system and get things done. And that's why they get into government. And certainly that probably has a certain amount of truth in a lot of circumstances. But when one looks at the details, another picture emerges. And that is the fact that congressional wealth seems to grow exponentially while they're in Congress. And that's from, like I say, insider trading, knowledge of wealth, and being involved in the legislative process both before, during, and after legislation is worked. And therefore, they can make sure that there's provisions and that there's legislation that benefits not only themselves, but business associates and family members. That includes business associates they had before they got into government work, business associates they have when they're in government work, and business associates they will have after they get out of government work. And good indication of how that works is the fact that right after the financial crash of 2008, between 2008 and 2009, Congressional Net Worth increased by 16%. So while the rest of America is being decimated, the middle class and working class net worth has taken huge hits, and our wages have actually gone down. Congressional wealth increased by 16% in the year following the financial crash. And in fact, between 2009 and 2011, Congressional net worth increased another 11%. So since the financial crash, congressional wealth has increased by near 30%. So quite a different trend than what the rest of America is experiencing. That's one of the reasons why I want to get down to my bottom line now, which is a rhetorical question, which is why would successful businessmen and rich lawyers want to gravitate towards government work, particularly positions in Congress where the base pay is only $174,000 a year. It's quite a pay cut for a lot of these people. And of course we know what the answer to that question is, but I still want people to think about that. Like, why is it that all these millionaires gravitate to low-paying government work? And part of the reason for it, of course, is a historical legacy. They will go down in the history books, and they can also help build their political and business dynasties based on their government work, and we see that over and over and over again. But of course, the primary reason is certainly not altruism. I'm too cynical to believe that. I'm also too cynical to believe that they want to be involved in public service to the American people. And I also believe that I'm too cynical to think that they want to make the world a better place. To me, it's pretty obvious that it's a case of opportunism, because they can get into government work, they can take this pay cut, they get a huge pension, and they get all the free health benefits, and a lot of this stuff carries over into their post-government life as well. They still have access to a lot of these congressional benefits, and they can also collect a lot of these congressional benefits and pensions while they get more private work in the private sector. And in fact, as we know, most congressmen, when they get out of Congress and government work, they become lobbyists for very special interest groups and corporations that were putting pressure on the congressmen when they were in office, trying to take advantage of their connections and their graft that they build up. So that's where the real money is. And even though they have a law that congressmen aren't allowed to lobby for 2 years after they get out of government work, the fact of the matter is that corporations just designate them with another title like consultant, start paying them the day that they get out of government office. And in fact, I would suggest that they probably start paying them. They could probably even put money into secret accounts while these people are serving in Congress. But that's where the jackpot is. And of course, we see that with presidents too, and presidential candidates. You know, people like Al Gore and Bill Clinton, whose wealth has grown exponentially 10 to 100 to 1,000 times after they get out of office, because they have created a brand. That's another aspect of this, the fact that because of the cult of personality and because of the connections and the knowledge of systems and the buddy system and the cronyism, the fact is that the ex-congressman and ex-president becomes a brand, and he is sellable as a brand to corporations. His name and his presence alone becomes a big moneymaker, and that's why corporations are willing to pay people that used to be in the government large sums of money, because they reap the rewards. Somebody that works from the inside, and a lot of times you can't put a price on that. So another part of that argument I would make as well, and I've done so before in other videos, is that to me it would appear that members of Congress, being millionaires, have a class allegiance to their business associates and to other people in the global elite and the upper classes, and less allegiance to the country and less allegiance to the American citizen, because they are opportunists and they're interested in increasing their wealth. That's a simple explanation as to why millionaires, rich lawyers, and successful businessmen take huge pay cuts to get into government work. So there is the bottom line. I am a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.